It was a long walk every day from his own village to the technical institute he was attending in Naples. 14 kilometers to get there, across the boroughs of Scampia, Secondigliano and Capodichino, and 14 to return. Yet his father, an elementary school teacher who had just moved to Sant'Antimo from the depressed region of Lucania, never stopped encouraging his boy, always reminding him to keep going, to keep cultivating his passion for math and geometry. Who knows how many thoughts and formulas occupying his mind over his 4 hours of daily walk, how many calculations along the way, gauging the pressure of excavators opening pathways, the weight of steamrollers paving roads with asphalt, or the length of railroad tracks near the first train line ever built in Italy in 1839, connecting Naples to Portici. Behind his mental equations, however, an indomitable heart moved Nicola to tirelessly walk the line for years amidst all sorts of obstacles, as well as a daring ambition to find a way out. Coming from the periphery, the Bay of Naples must have appeared to him like a spectacular window open wide on the whole world. Seeing the agitated whirlwind of immigrants, intellectuals, scholars, and entrepreneurs that animated the city, or walking by the Magazzini Mele, Italy's largest department store at the end of the 19th century, must have left in him a restless urge to similarly start a business, create wealth, and busy himself bearing good fruits. His starting capital was not money, but rather the abundance of trust and hope he had received from his family. What his parents gave him as a gift was, in fact, the courage not to succumb to fatalism or resignation, as well as the generous encouragement to break the cycle of poverty. So while many were flooding Naples to seek fortune or embark on a desperate journey to the Americas, Nicola walked to the city to grow his talents and cultivate the seed of a promise. Its ground was education, which literally led him out of poverty, as in the original meaning of the Latin verb ex ducere, and brought him from his little village to the University of Naples, where in 1899, at 23 years of age, he completed his degree in civil engineering. Nicola Romeo's fruit-bearing path starts here, in his daily commute from Sant'Antimo to Naples, in the scorching sun of desolate neighborhoods, in the hours spent wandering, in the slow rising and silent growth of his ideas. In this road is the fertile ground of his later path as a successful entrepreneur in the railroad system, the production of air compressors, and the automobile industry, as his name would become the unmistakable signature of one of Italy's and the world's most renowned brands, Alfa Romeo. After graduating as a young civil engineer, Romeo decided to continue his academic journey in Liège, Belgium, where he completed his doctoral work and gained a deep knowledge of electrical engineering, railroad infrastructures, and water systems. His idea, which accompanied him until the end of his life, was that of bringing this wealth of expertise back to his own city. His reality, however, as he returned to Italy a few years later, was that of incomprehension and ineffectiveness, as the only job that was available for him was that of capostazione, the head of a train station in Tivoli near Rome. Nemo profeta in patria, they say in Latin. No one is prophet in his own land. Despite the situation, he did not give in to the temptation of despair this time either. Years of walking had given him the certainty of a broader bay at the end of the journey, confident trust in the process, and the sure knowledge that only long expectation grants, perhaps like that of the old ladies he saw waiting on their chairs outside their houses, that something unforeseen yet also awaited might come out of his trials. As his parents taught him, he kept walking, or rather kept journeying, this time through the railroads of the peninsula. The opportunity he was searching for came to him, in fact, on a train, through a random encounter with a British manager of the railway company, Robert Blackwell, who was exploring the possibility of investing in electrical infrastructures in Italy. Thanks to the expertise Romeo had acquired in Belgium, he was hired and soon became the director of the Italian branch of the company. In his new managerial position, he acquired hands-on knowledge of the electrical powering of railways and a significant capital. It was 1906 when he founded his own company, the Nicola Romeo & Co., which specialized in the import of British railroad tracks and American compressed air machinery. 1906 was also the year in which the French engineer and car pioneer Alexandre Darracq founded the Italian branch of his French automobile company in Naples, which he named SAID for Società Anonima Italiana Darracq. Immediately after establishing his business, however, Darracq decided to move production to the Milan suburbs, where a group of Milanese investors had acquired a suitable place of land for a productive plant. The group would later buy his company in 1910, renaming it with the acronym ALFA for Anonima Lombarda Fabbrica Automobili, Lombard Car Factory. Alfa Cars rapidly emerged on the Italian market thanks to the vision of its engineer Giuseppe Merosi, who designed signature vehicles endowed with attractive style and more powerful engines, also capable of granting the brand early victories in automobile racing. Over the same years, Nicola Romeo's business also grew, as he started his own production of air compressors, extraction machinery, and railroad tracks. What gave his company a decisive boost, however, was the outbreak of the European War in 1914 and Italy's decision to enter the conflict in 1915. As combat quickly evolved from traditional fighting to trench warfare, air compressors soon became tools of paramount importance for the building of tunnels and galleries along the Alpine and Karstic border. Unlike the other European fronts, the fighting between the Italian and the Austro-Hungarian armies took place on the northeastern border along a mountainous line that ran from the Adamello Glacier in Lombardy to the Dolomites in Trentino, from the Slovenian Alps to the harbor of Trieste. So a heroic, cruel, but also picturesque war, which was fought between 5,000 and 10,000 feet of elevation. In this context, armies battled to conquer the peaks of mountains, which granted the advantage of a more elevated position, and often ended up disfiguring them with bombs, as in the case of Mount Pasubio in Veneto, or hidden galleries, as in the case of Col di Lana, which the Italian army conquered on April 17, 1916, after digging a tunnel with Romeo's compressors right underneath the Austrian-occupied peak and blowing it up with dynamite. The new capital that war generated allowed Romeo to further expand his activity and interests. As the war had brought the Alfa car company to a sudden stall, Romeo decided in fact to invest in automobiles, providing liquidity to the business, converting production to war vehicles, and bringing the enterprise back to profitability. It is thanks to his investment and vision that Alfa did not remain a forgotten historic brand in the pioneering age of automobiles. It is thanks to the growth that he brought that the brand incorporated his name, thus becoming Alfa Romeo. The company returned to the manufacture of automobiles in 1920, when it released one of its most glorious models, the Torpedo 2030 HP, the first to bear the new name Alfa Romeo. The hiring of the engineer Vittorio Iano in 1924, as well as the series of victory of pilot Ugo Sivocci in the Targa Florio race, brought the enterprise to international fame. One of its young pilots, a certain Enzo Ferrari, would work for the company before starting his own business in Maranello at the end of World War II. The new brand, Alfa Romeo, and the new logo featuring the flag of Milan and the Biscione serpent of the Visconti family, which ruled over the city from the 13th to the 15th centuries, became a new symbol of Italian success. Over the same years, under Romeo's leadership, the company began to produce systems of railway electrification, locomotives, and even airplanes. It was in the mid-1920s, at the height of his managerial and entrepreneurial path, that Nicola Romeo decided to bring part of his business back to Naples by opening an Alfa Romeo factory in Pomigliano d'Arco for the production of airplanes. In 1925, the city of Naples would award him a Medal of Honor for his merits. Despite his role as president of Alfa Romeo, which he held until 1928, and the recognition of his contribution to the nation as he was named Senator of Italy in 1929, the board of investors of his company ousted him from the enterprise, leading him to retire from active entrepreneurship. He would die at age 62 in 1938 in his villa near Como, not before founding a preschool in his own native village and closing the circle of his long foot, train, and car journey. In the 1930s, his brand Alfa Romeo was acquired by the fascist state and became the symbol of the regime's self-proclaimed new industrial power. After the factory was bombed during World War II, Alfa Romeo regained momentum in the post-war period as some of its models, like the Giulia and the Giulietta, turned into the stylish icons of Italy's economic boom. Romeo's dream to bring a car factory to the south will re-emerge in the late 1960s, when, despite recession, the company reinvested in the old factory of Pomigliano d'Arco on the outskirts of Naples, transforming the plant into the manufacturing site of the Alfa Sud model, the only Italian car entirely designed and produced in southern Italy. The plant would become part of Fiat in 1986, when the Turin Group acquired the debt-ridden Alfa Romeo out of fear that an offer by Ford could jeopardize its hold on the Italian automotive market. Alfa Romeo is still part of the FCA group today. Alfa Romeo's legacy, as in its early days, is one of elegance, power, and style. While the brand remains associated with Milanesità, Milan's cultural identity as featured in its logo, its fertile soil, however, came from the Napoletanità, Neapolitanness of its visionary leader. That is, from a spirit able to combine with Pascal esprit de finesse and esprit de géométrie, or in other words, relational warmth and analytical precision, flexibility and rigor, adaptability and systematicity. The success of many Italian entrepreneurial stories lies exactly in this complex and simple balance of opposites, that is, in the ability to synthesize divergent forces, to see them as complementary poles, and to detect in their clash a vital energy of ingenuity, creation, and masterful execution. That is the marvelous synthesis that Romeo was able to operate in his entrepreneurial journey, from the streets of Naples to the roads of all the world. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, I invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel or to the newsletter at the webpage www.italianinnovators.com to receive notifications of new episodes. You can also follow me on my LinkedIn profile or on Instagram at Italian Innovators for additional materials about the show. Thank you again. Arrivederci e alla prossima.